25% of Americans are functionally unemployed. Let that sink in for a little while. 25% of Americans are functionally unemployed. And we're starting to see all this stuff come out. And so we're going to go over some of these things today in this video. So make sure you stay to the end so you got all the gist. Here we go. Functional unemployment refers to a situation where a significant portion of the workforce is either jobless, working part-time but wanting full-time work, or earning wages below the poverty line. When the government calculates all these unemployment numbers, they calculate how many people are unemployed, and then they give you the job report. Those are all not included in the functional unemployment list because they say if you worked for 1 hour, well, you got a job, so we're going to kick you off the charts, off everything. So they're saying, nah, you got a job, you're good, let's get you out. And it is now so competitive that you need every advantage that you possibly have. And I see people do dumb stuff all the time. When it comes to going out and showcasing your voice and doing and exercising your legal rights and doing all this other stuff, some people just do really, really stupid stuff. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, don't do it. And I made a video about six or 8 days ago where I said, if you're going to participate in these ICE protests or whatever, don't do it. The risk is way too high for you, because when you're going to go out and get a job, 95% of jobs want a clean report card. And now you're like, well, there's a lot of employers that don't really care. And I would agree with that, but not so much, because now in good times, I would agree with you. Bad times, not so much, because now you're an employer, and who are you going to hire if you have a gazillion candidates and some of them have criminal records and some of them don't? And I'm like, who would I hire? Probably not the one with the criminal record, even though it was years ago. And people tell me in the comments of the other video that said, hey, that can't define you. That was just one glimpse of emotions and everything else, and it just got out of hand and shit happens. And I say, yeah, that does happen, but it's still an F on your report card. And when you get F on your report card, it kind of stays with you, especially since now everything is digitalized. You can look up and you can public records and everything. And a good thing that I didn't tell you guys last time is if Canada and other states or other places in the world don't want people with Fs on their report cards, why would companies in the US want you, right? These are tourists and everything else, but you're too high risk for even traveling to the nicest place on the planet like Canada. And so I'm going to share with you a video right now of somebody that got it, and we will talk about it. And I want you to give me your input and give some good advice for some people that are watching this.
My name is India. I'm one of the 100 protesters that were arrested on Fremont Street in Las Vegas last Wednesday on June 11th. We're pretty much, like, at least 15 of us girls that are still in contact from jail are looking for legal help and advice, preferably like a pro bono lawyer because I'm broke. But all of us have various charges. Primarily it was unlawful assembly, and mine was failure to disperse. A couple girls I think got battery on a cop or something like that crazy. But yeah, I'm reaching out to see if there's anyone out there that can at least like give us help or are willing to represent some of us. Yeah, it's kind of a shitty situation. My court date is on July 15th.
So before we go even further in the video, please like and subscribe this video so we can spread this message to a lot more people so they are aware of it and and won't be judged by a little blimp in time because of bad judgment. So let's look at some of these comments that there were says, oh, here we go. Girls, ain't nobody helping you. You found out that Las Vegas police don't play around. Surprise statement, I'm broke. Don't break the law. Free advice for you're broke. Sometimes school isn't held in classrooms. And Las Vegas local here, glad you're finally learning. And it is so absolutely brutal to all of these protesters. These are young kids that have now an F on their report card. And now what we're going to talk about is when I have, whenever I make content, whenever I say something, I always say, hey, AI is so advanced that you can just ask it questions. So what did I do? I've actually asked it questions, and I used GPT, and I actually used Ali's GPT, and I'm going to share some of the conversation I had. And I've asked it if it would be a good idea for me to go today to observe, just to observe. And it asks like, what's your goal? What's your current climate? Are you prepared for the risk? And here we go. It literally asks, protests can be risky. Of yeah, just even you going there, it can be risk for your future. Do you have legal or safety precautions in place? Are you pregnant or you have vulnerabilities? Recommendations, and then it basically says that and says, hey, what could an arrest do to my career? Because I always feel like one of the beautiful things in the United States is you can always make a career and make more money and do a whole bunch of different things that's going to propel you into success. And so now we're looking at background checks. Many employers, especially government, finance, healthcare, education, or engineering, run background check. And the arrest can show up even if charges are dropped, depending on the state and local laws. And this is what I've been saying. You got to be so careful now that even though you're like, you know what, it will get expunged and all this other stuff, it's never 100% expunged. You can always kind of see and who did what and all this kind of other stuff with True Search and everything, these tools out there. And yeah, it is just absolutely crazy. So security clearance or licensing, you can't get a professional security clearance. Employer policies. Some companies have zero tolerance policies for activists, especially those related in civil disordinance or unrest. And long-term risk, job applications. You may have to disclose the arrest, which can complicate future applications. And then if you falsify that and say you have never been in an arrest because you thought it will expunge, they can fire you later on. Reputation, your name or image ends up on social media coverage. It can follow you online. Social media, if you're a public figure, run a personal brand, association with arrest could cause backlash. But also, if you're in the civil justice, obedience ordinance, it can help you out. But here comes the real talk. Real talk for you especially. This is AI telling me, giving me advice. Given that you're a public-facing coach, speaker, business owner, and this is Ali's account, you're pregnant, the risk lightly outweigh the rewards unless you're making the live public statement and purpose of the background. There's a slight chance that you're not prepared to handle the consequences. So looking at all these things, it is so crucial that people understand what they get into. And whenever I make content, whenever I say, make sure you know the outcome of what's going to happen. When you buy a house and the housing market's going to go down, it has the trajectories. All of it is like it's blinking red hot. Look at Lee County, Cape Coral, saying foreclosures are up. So now you got to be aware of like, hey, what am I getting myself into? What is the long-term consequences of me holding that asset, of me holding this piece of property, of me relocating? Is it going to be wise for me to wrap up hundreds of thousands of dollars in a downwards market? And I cannot tell you if this is a good deal or not. You need to find out for yourself if this is good. Going to these protests, it's going to be like, hey, is this a good trajectory long term? Am I a civil rights lawyer? Am I going to help people there? But as you saw, this woman, she has no money, and now she's learning and seeing the hard way, the school of hard knocks, that college did not teach her that there's real consequences. So I bet you if you type in her name, you can find her online. And so now if you want a career in tech or anything else, you copy and paste her name and most likely stuff will show up on TrueFinder, on all these other websites that say, hey, this is Liz or whatever her name was versus Las Vegas or something like that. And that is never a good thing. Even if they dropped the charges, it was probably not worth you going. You rather just been online and start a political blog, start a newsletter, and do something else, or go to a coffee shop and do something completely different. Because even though you feel today, you feel mad, you feel something, that does not mean that in 5 years, you're gonna feel the same way as you feel today. There's a lot of topics that I feel that have changed over the time that I've been growing up from my early 20s to now I'm 32. So there's been a lot of changes that I've gone through, experienced a lot of different things that made me change my views on things. And it is so bad that you're gonna wrap yourself up into something that you might not feel the same way about in today's world, right? So let's say tattoos. If you feel like, hey, today I'm gonna get this tattoo, and then 5 years down the road, you're like, I don't like it no more, then you get it, you get it lasered away. But this record will stay with you. You cannot just say, oh, I'm gonna get it lasered away. So this is what I always talk about, insurance. Know what you get into. And people then attack me and say, oh, mind your own business, this will never happen. And yeah, because the news cycle turns and these people will get forgotten. So all these protesters, we're gonna be on the next news cycle. So we were ICE raids, protests. Now it is with, what did the news cycle turn to? Oh, Israel and Iran. And everything else just got forgotten. And now all these people that have been participating, that thought like, oh, the news cycle's not gonna change, I'm gonna do all that, are now suffering the consequences. And one thing that I've read in a Swiss blog before I've moved to the United States, and it's still present today, it said the wheel of justice in the United States turns very slowly, and it will come like a mill, and it will overroll you like you've never seen before. So unless you're Elon Musk, you're Donald Trump, you're Jeff Bezos, that just have an insane amount of money to throw at lawyers, depositions, and move it forward, most likely you're gonna get overruled and you're gonna lose a shit ton of money, or then you lose even more because it's gonna be on your record. And so always know what you get into. And now, functional unemployment's high. So now let me know in the comments below if you think, hey, would you hire somebody like that? Or does your company not care? Or what's your company policy? Because if I have now Liz showing up for an interview and I have somebody else showing up and I see videos like this circulating, I'd probably be like, yeah, she seems like a nice gal, but probably not a good idea to hire her if I can hire somebody else with no criminal record. And so this is just crazy. Another thing where I say, hey, know what the outcome might be. And people say to me, oh, you have a negative outlook on it. You can just go there and just observe. If you're going with the crowd, you're with the crowd, right? So if you're there and you're gonna get shot at with bullets, rubber bullets, then that's just, you were there, you were in the crowd, you must be one of them. And yeah, so it's just absolutely crazy. And it's funny because when I grew up in Switzerland, they have something called 1st of May, where it's like a workers' right protest and everybody kind of goes out. I have a picture right here, and it's just kind of civil unrest, and they kind of do it every year, and it's just like, oh my gosh, we want more salaries, and they kind of go and do the police thing, and they kind of use these water towers on cars and kind of get, you kind of go and trying to be a badass, and the police like, aha, we're gonna get you. But this is in Switzerland. So when I did that, I went to see it once, and Buddy got shot with a rubber bullet, and he had one on the thigh or somewhere, and it is just brutal. And they come after you, and they will literally take you to jail. And all of a sudden, you just observing it, you were then within the crowd. Even though you weren't doing nothing, you were still with the crowd. And so be aware of what has been going on. And so, yeah, don't participate. Don't go and look. You can see the same stuff at the 5 o'clock news than you can from actually observing. And I was a minor back then, but now it's once you're an adult, there is no such thing as forgiveness. You're 18, you will get punished by the law. You're gonna get the full hammer of the law breathing down your neck, because it is, you cannot bring up, oh, I just didn't know. unknowingness does not protect you from the law. So don't do it. It is hard times already. Don't make your life more and more difficult, because then you're going to be like one of my job seekers that comes and says, I've been unemployed for a year and all this other stuff. And yeah, even though you have a felony now, it's going to be even harder. And Home Depot, a huge employer that basically almost hires anybody if you show up, is very critical even of felonies. So know what you're getting into. And yeah, I'm telling you, looking at righteous lawyers trying to get it expunged, doing all that, it costs you time, effort, and it is just not worth it at the end. Take it from me, it is not worth it. Take this as advice into your day, and if something else happens and pops up, say, this is not the crowd I want to associate myself with, regardless if I feel this way. There's going to be legal actions, legal consequences, and don't do it. Because man, it is just crazy, crazy when it comes to your future. Nobody will care about your future more than you do. So the best thing to do is focus on your career, focus on networking, focus on providing more value, go to conferences, learn skills, and turn on YouTube, watch YouTube videos about, hey, how can I make more money? Have conversations with AI. Hey, I want to become a millionaire when I retire. How do I do that? How do I pay off my property? And doing all kinds of stuff. Or hey, I want to become a homeowner. Help me go to a path. And going to these protests is not going to result into you becoming financially free. Most likely you becoming a millionaire or retiring. It will just make your life harder. And I know emotions, everything, it's just crazy. It is just absolutely crazy. So look at your life situation. Ask AI, spend the 10, 20 bucks it costs to have GPT and have GPT guide you a little bit. I think we can all need a little guidance. And yeah, it is just crazy. So if you haven't, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Did I miss something? Or was this pretty spot on? Because sometimes I do miss things and Tom sends me an email and says, hey, what about this? You missed it. I was like, yeah, I sure did. So yeah, if you want to send me an email, it's in my profile. You can send me an email. And yeah, it is just craziness in the market, in the world in general. So don't let 5 minutes of weakness define the next 10 years of your life and make it so much harder. And young and dumb does not protect you from the law. So yeah, this was it from my video walking out in Viva Las Vegas. And let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.